Okay, great. So I'm now gonna start our screen sharing and we're gonna have that introduction. So we'll be coming back live in 30 seconds or so.
No problem.
Okay. Our next guest in the breakout room is Mark Drager. He is a pro-conversationalist, MC, moderator, brand strategist, and founder of Phanta Media. He's also a podcast host. We do hard things. This is our guest of the moment. As a leader, he says, you must be courageous. There's only one of you, and it takes courage to go all in on you. Sometimes he's just hanging out with his family. So, let's welcome live in the breakout room this creative entrepreneur, the man, Mark Drager. So we are live in the breakout room. Mark, I see that smile on your face. What's happening, buddy? Tell me what's happening.
Andy, I need to bring you everywhere I go. You're like you can like blow the trumpets for me before I enter any room, man. That was remarkable. Thank you.
I'm glad that you liked it. I appreciate that. Hey, Mark, let's get with this conversation, man. I know that time is a premium. I really want to thank you for coming on the show and this personal development in the breakout room. And I look forward to sharing this valuable time with you. We will do some good content for our people and our tribe. So, first of all, tell us, Mark, can you remember anything significant about your childhood days as a young man growing up, the challenges or the neighborhood that you lived in, and how it created that platform for you to be where you are today?
Well, I had a mixed childhood. So
Uh
up
huh.
until the age of 7, it was my mom, it was my aunt, my sister, and myself.
Uh
And
huh.
and honestly, I had a pretty idyllic childhood. I grew up in I would what I would consider kind of an upper middle class family.
Mm hmm.
My mom was an entrepreneur and she worked from home, and so I was in a safe neighborhood with good schools, and we had a great home life. And in the summertime, we would go to the lake, and in the wintertime, we would go visit my grandparents down in Florida. And honestly, it was like a pretty amazing childhood. I was the youngest child, and I had an older sister again, my aunt, my mom, and it was great. And then when I was 7, sorry, my mom remarried,
Uh huh.
and what she didn't know at the time was my stepfather, the man that she married, uh, had some alcohol abuse issues, had some
Wow.
mental health issues,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and uh, and really my world kind of changed. And so from the age of
Mm.
8 until
Mm-hmm.
16, when
Yeah.
I finally left home, it was a totally different world. And so I have kind of two childhoods I can draw on. The one where surrounded with amazing people with great opportunity with a loving home, and then more of a pressure cooker, kind of abusive, very, very kind all over the place,
Yeah.
stressful type of environment. And so it depends which conversation you want to have.
Yeah. I hear you. Thanks for sharing, Mark. Um, what I'm hearing from that is that level of challenges that you would have faced would have sort of brought you to a place where you had to make some decisions because family was indeed important despite the fact that you were having these challenges. And it brings me to the fact that you said you married your high school sweetheart,
I
and
did.
20 something odd years and 4 kids later, you guys are still together. How much
We
lessons did you learn from the past that help you to retain that relationship?
Well, I mean, a few things. When we first met, my wife was 16, I was 17.
Uh huh.
And when we started dating, I told her I never wanted to get married and I didn't want to have kids.
Okay.
And part of that was because I didn't grow up where I would look around. My grandparents were married for over 60 years until my grandmother passed. But
Okay.
when I looked around, I didn't see very many people who were happily married. I didn't see really a lot of structure or home life. And I just didn't want to do that stuff. Now, we have 4 kids. we've been married for 17 years. We've been together for 22 at this point. So obviously somewhere along the way things have changed for me. But I think part of it is that when I was growing up, I was it was a bit of like every man for himself type of
Okay.
feel.
Okay. Okay.
That's what it felt like.
All
And
right.
so when my wife came into my life, and the loyalty and the hard work and the realization that could grow together,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I love what we have. I love what we've built, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't need anyone else. So
Okay.
it's
Wonderful.
working.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. You started your first business at 23 with
Yes.
no money. How was that experience for you, and what lessons would you have learned that you can share with people in a similar position?
Yeah, I mean, so the first thing I did was I had a fairly low paid job. I was really young. My first daughter had just been born. My wife wasn't working, and I decided that I wanted to quit my low paid job
Mm-hmm.
and start this company. Now, I had
Okay.
been thinking about running a company for a few years. I mentioned that my mom ran a company when I was young
Yes.
and was home.
Yes. Yeah.
My grandfather built a very large business that is still around today. It was started in 1950. It's still
Okay.
around today. So
Okay.
I was around people who'd started businesses, and I wanted to do that. But for myself, um, really, the main thing was, how do you start? How do you
Right.
start? And so I approached the company that I was working at, the CEO, and I said, "Let me leave. Let me leave this company, and don't replace me.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, outsource the work that I was doing,
Yeah.
and give it to me as a contractor." And they agreed. And so it wasn't that I started with zero money at all. I had some savings. My mom helped me get together a $20,000 line of credit,
Okay.
and this company let me leave and take the equipment with me, and I was going to work it off in exchange. I was going to do
Okay.
free work for them to earn back this
Mm-hmm.
equipment that I
Mm-hmm.
took with me.
Yeah.
Now, a few months in, it wasn't going well, because the company that said, "Hey, go ahead and leave, Mark. We're gonna give you this work," the work stopped
Uh-huh.
because when they suddenly had to start paying for each individual
Yeah.
project. And part of
Yeah.
my pitch to them was, "Hey guys, I'm doing lots of work that doesn't make sense. Let's put some structure here." It turned out I put too much structure because they stopped giving me work.
Uh-huh.
I had some of this equipment. This is 2006,
Right.
2007. I have some
Right.
equipment,
Yeah.
but I don't know how to sell, and I don't know what to say, and I
Okay.
don't have any advertising, and I don't have any marketing, and I only had this $20,000 line of credit. And I realized 5 months in, it's May, I realized I'm running out of money, and I
Right.
don't know what I'm doing.
Hmm.
And so it was kind of like starting with nothing, but at the time I didn't realize you can't really start a business with nothing. You need
Yep.
something.
Yep.
You need
Yes.
something to kind of kickstart
That's
it.
right. That's right.
And I reached out to a friend. I admitted that things weren't going well, and they connected me with a business coach. And the best thing I ever
Yeah.
did was admit
Yeah.
to someone that I needed help, that it
Yeah.
wasn't going well.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I was willing to admit that,
Right.
people were willing to help me.
Yes. And that is extremely important. It's one of the things that I learned myself, Mark. You got to reach out for help, man. You got to be humble enough and realistic enough to say, hey, I need help, especially in areas where you don't know you're trying something for the first time. There are people who've been there before, they have walked the path. Seek out, reach out, and things could change. How did Phanta Media become a reality? What are the things that led you to that place?
Well, that's the company that I started back
Right,
in 2006, Phanta Media. And I
exactly.
mean, when I started, I had gone to film school,
Uh huh.
and I was working making videos for this company that I had left and said, "Hey,
Yeah,
I'll let me leave."
right.
And so when I started, I was like, I make videos.
Okay.
And I walked out in, I started my company, and I was like, I make videos. Who needs a video? Do you need a video? Anyone need a video? I'll make you a video. And I didn't realize that's not how that's not how
Okay.
sales works. If you're an accountant, you can be like, I'm an accountant. Who needs an
Yes.
accountant? Does anyone need
Yeah,
an
yeah,
accountant?
yeah, yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
coach. Does anyone need a coach? No one thinks
Hmm.
that way. And so when
Okay.
I hired this business coach, really what helped me more than anything else was to realize that when you start something, typically you start it because you have a craft or a skill or a passion. but people, your prospects, your clients, they
Right.
don't think in the same terms you think in.
Right.
So I realized, and they helped me realize that I wasn't. People would come to me because they maybe thought they needed a video, but they didn't buy a video. They were buying communications,
Okay.
or they were buying marketing, or they were
Okay.
buying advertising, or they were buying leads, or they were buying conversions. They were always, the video was like the medium or the package.
Yeah.
If you work with an architect, you're not buying a house. You're working with someone who has style, or a
Yeah.
sense of space, or they're going to
Yeah.
make your vision or your dream a reality. They're going to
I get it.
impress people,
I get
right? You
it.
work with a tailor, you're not buying a suit. You're buying something that fits well, that makes you feel confident. And so the coach helped me really realize to look past the thing I was selling to
Hmm.
why people would buy and who they would be, and what they would be willing to pay. And that was really the start of me figuring out this whole entrepreneurial thing.
Amazing. I love it. I love it. Fantastic story, Mark. You said that you lost 70 pounds in your late 30s.
Mm-hmm.
How challenging was that for you, man? And what lessons did you learn as a result?
It was I mean, it didn't all happen at once.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm about 20 pounds heavier than my lightest. So at this point,
Okay.
I guess I'm about 50 pounds down from that. But honestly, it took a few years. It's me realizing that things don't you don't go from A to Z.
Okay.
You don't decide that you're going to lose weight and then lose weight. Sometimes you're losing weight, sometimes you're gaining weight, sometimes you're
Mm-hmm.
maintaining. Sometimes you're
Mm-hmm.
building muscle, sometimes you're losing muscle. Sometimes you're building cardio, sometimes you're losing your cardio.
Okay.
And I I mean, I had first of all never thought of myself as athletic or healthy, or that I could do it. And it turns out I can. I never really thought that I can, and I do struggle still to control my calories and my
Okay.
macros and
Yeah.
on all of
Yeah.
that stuff. But
Yeah.
with the right help, in the
Mm-hmm.
right framework, with the right assistance and the right thinking and the right attitude, I can do that.
Okay.
And so, I mean, the biggest lessons that I've learned really come down to a few things.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was really doing this crazy health challenge, I was complaining to my wife that lifting weights, because I had just started lifting weights, hurt. And she said, "It's supposed to hurt." And I said, "It is?" I didn't I didn't
Yes.
know. Like honestly, everyone's always said like, "Well, if it hurts, stop. If it hurts, stop."
Mm-hmm.
And she's like,
Mm-hmm.
"No, it's supposed to hurt."
No
And
pain, no gain, Mark.
I was like, "Oh, okay. It's supposed to hurt."
Mm-hmm.
And another lesson, similarly, I was complaining to my coach because they were changing my meal plan. And
Yeah.
I was on this really aggressive cut. I was going from like 2,000 calories a day to 1,800 to 1,700 to
Mm-hmm.
1,600. I think at the bottom, I was at like 1,600 a day.
Okay.
And I worked out a lot. And I was complaining, like, "Hey, coach, don't you realize how busy I am, how hard it is, how hungry I am, how much this hurts, how tired I am?" And
Mm.
then he just said, "Mark, you have a goal. What did you think this was going
Yeah.
to be like?"
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, "I thought it would be a lot easier. I thought it wouldn't be this hard. Like, I don't
No
know.
way.
I just thought you would make more accommodations for me." And
Mm.
he said, "Do you want your goal?" And I said,
Yeah.
"Yes." And he said, "Well, this is what it's going to take.
That's right.
So, do you want your goal or not? If you don't want your goal, then you can just sit here and complain.
Yeah.
If you do want your goal, this is what it's going to take to hit your goal. So stop complaining."
Right.
And it flipped this switch in my head to like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a victim here.
Oh.
I'm not a
Yeah.
victim.
Yeah.
I chose this goal.
Mm-hmm.
I want this goal.
Mm-hmm.
I told everyone I'm willing to do the work.
That's right.
So why am I complaining about this stuff? Right?
Yeah.
Like stop complaining and just get on with it.
Yeah.
And
Do the
guess
work.
what?
Do the work.
When that switch flipped in my head and I
Mm-hmm.
realized with the coach kind of saying like, "What did you think this was going to be like? Like, did you
Yeah.
think this
Yeah.
was going to be a
Yeah.
walk in the park? Did you
Yeah.
think this was going to be fun?"
Yeah.
Those things have helped me in business, have helped me in relationships, have helped me everywhere in my life. Those two lessons. It's going to hurt. It's
Yeah.
supposed to.
That's right.
And what did you think would happen? Like, you're not a
Yeah.
victim here. You chose this. Now just stop complaining and get on with it.
Absolutely. Amazing story. The thing about it, Mark, is that when we do our research and we look at the neurosciences, it tells you that the way you need to look at stuff that happens in your life is not that you're a victim or that it's happening to you, but think about the fact that it's happening for you, so that I can really affiliate myself with what you're saying, and I appreciate it. So you completed the Chunk to Hunk 90-day health challenge. Tell me about that.
Well, that's the challenge that I learned those two lessons
Ah,
in. Now,
wonderful. That.
yeah, now here's the thing. I was in
Uh-huh.
my late 30s and I still am. I'm turning 40 next year.
Okay.
And so I had gotten a little bit fit, but when I decided to lose weight in
Mm-hmm.
2018,
Yeah.
I was going into a size 40 pants. I was like 238 pounds or something, and I wasn't
Wow.
feeling good. And I hated getting dressed up because none of my clothes fit. And I had to
Right.
hold my breath to tie my shoes, and running up the stairs winded me, and all of this stuff.
Oof.
At that point, I decided I'm going to start to get fit. And this was such a mindset thing for me that I had tried dieting before, but every time that I quote unquote dieted,
Mm-hmm.
I was miserable. And I remember
Okay.
walking around with my friend Evan Carmichael, and he brings this up, and I hate to admit this, but I told him this is what I said. This is how bad my mindset was. I told him that I thought I could either be a skinny, miserable guy
Mm-hmm.
or a fat, jolly guy. And I
Okay.
kind of had to pick. I'm either going to be skinny and miserable or fat and jolly. And those are
Yeah.
my two options. And so finally in 2018, I said, I want to start to get fit. And I pulled out a picture. I found online a picture of someone who kind of looked like me before and
Mm-hmm.
had this crazy cool after image.
Ah,
And I was
I
like,
got it.
I want that. I want to be that guy.
I get it.
And so a few years goes by and I'm healthy now and I'm leaner, but I still didn't look like that picture. So the
Mm.
Chunk to Hunk challenge was me just asking my coach,
Mm-hmm.
hey, what would it take for me to get six-pack abs? I've never been lean. I've never lifted weights. I've never really been athletic. I was healthy. I was working out, but I was still carrying some weight, around my
Yeah.
midriff and
Yeah.
stuff. And I
Yeah.
wanted to be badass. I wanted to be attractive. I told him I wanted to be a bathing suit model.
Wow.
What would it take to do this? And he said it would take, like 90 days. And so I hired a nutritionist. I worked with my personal trainer. We put together a plan. And this is where those first 2 or 3 weeks in, my wife
Mm-hmm.
says it's supposed to hurt because now
Yes.
I'm lifting weights. This
Mm-hmm.
is March of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm lifting weights for the first time in my life. Never did any weight training.
Yeah.
It's supposed to hurt.
Yeah.
I'm doing a meal plan that was really challenging, and my coach is saying, "Hey, Mark, what did you think this was going to be?" And that flipped a switch in my brain,
Yeah.
and I learned a few really tough lessons. I mean, um, 30 days in, I reset the challenge, so it ended up becoming 120 days. It became four
Right.
months, and by the end of it, I was disappointed with the results still, but when I look
Mm-hmm.
back,
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty impressed. I'm pretty impressed with
Ah.
myself.
Ah.
I can't believe that I did it. And sometimes I still want the same results. But by the end, what I realized was I was able for the first time in my life to have a sense of confidence in myself that I had never felt before.
Okay.
I so I was able to tap into a ridiculous amount of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I surprised myself with my ability and my discipline,
Yeah.
and quite honestly, I was a very different person at the end of it. Now, I still want those results,
Yeah.
and yet I haven't put myself back in the situation where I'm doing what it takes to get the
Oh.
results. And so
Okay.
even today, like, these last few weeks, I've been making some changes to my diet and I've been changing my exercise and my body composition's changed. But I go like, I want that confidence I had. I want to look the way I looked. And I know that the answer is simply do what I did then to get
Right.
the results I had then.
The
If I'm
result.
not
Yeah.
willing to
Yeah.
do the work, I'm not going to get the results. It's very
Yeah.
black and white, right? Like if you
Yes.
want to
Yes.
look a certain way, you can, but you can't drink alcohol. If you love a glass of wine every night, and I don't drink wine, but if you love a glass of wine every night, you're not going to get the body that you want. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
very do what you have to do. There's no judgment here. But
Mm-hmm.
if you want that, do it. And if you're not willing to do it, stop dreaming about it. Stop complaining about not getting it. Stop beating yourself
Yeah,
up for
yeah,
would have, should have,
yeah,
and could have. Just do it or let it go.
yeah. I hear you. To a certain extent, I have the feeling, Mark, that that kind of attitude, that kind of mindset is something that you use also from a professional perspective. You're a brand strategist, and you help people to create better stories so that their image is promoted, they are rebranded, and that kind of thing. How much of that plays into what you do right now in terms of the clients that you have on board?
It's all the same. So yes, I'm a brand strategist and I help entrepreneurs and coaches and consultants basically turn their personal brands or their companies into sales engines. And
Right.
we're very, very pragmatic about this because I've been doing this for, I mean, Phanta Media started in 2006. We've worked on thousands of projects for hundreds of companies.
Right.
And frankly, there has to be a certain amount of pragmatism to this. It's
Mm-hmm.
really great to hope and dream, like if you go way back, people used to say like, I want to make a viral video. Okay, you can make a video and it may go viral, but you can't make a viral video.
Hmm.
And people would say like, oh, we're just gonna we're if we just put our product out there, oh my goodness, people are gonna love it. Well, why
Mm.
would they love it? And how will they
Yeah.
find out about it?
Right.
And so, you can certainly be optimistic, and you should. You can be hopeful, and you
Yeah.
should. But hope and optimism is not strategy,
Right.
right? And
Right.
I've watched far too many people go like, if I just make something good and put it out there,
Hmm.
it's going to be amazing. And it's like, well, let's be a little bit more cynical. Let's be a little bit more skeptical. Let's realize how much work goes into this.
Right.
It takes so much effort and investment and work to be able to get people to care about what you care about.
Exactly. Exactly.
It really does. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
like you're a coach and you do all of this transformative work.
Mm-hmm.
You're out here, helping. You're a coach and you're a writer and you're a speaker and you want to be a change agent. Like
That's right.
you can probably look at someone and
Mm-hmm.
immediately go like, oh, I see XYZ would totally help them.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
have you wasted your time trying to convince people to help themselves? It's like it takes so much effort. It takes
That's
so
right.
much
It
time.
does. It does. It
And that's at
does.
things that you're not even trying to sell them on.
Yeah.
Like you're just trying to leave them with a gift, and it takes a lot of work and effort. Now, bring this into a sales scenario where no one trusts you and there's lots of competition and there's lots of cynicism out there and there's confusion and it's an attention economy. We got to be really pragmatic about this. Who
Yeah.
are we
Yeah.
speaking to? What do they care about? Who else is are you competing with for attention or for the message?
Mm-hmm.
Are
Mm-hmm.
you saying a message that actually connects with people, and is it in a way that connects with them? So are you basically showing up looking the way you need to look,
Yeah.
saying the things you need to say, and making people feel the way you need to make them feel? And
Wow.
and our agency helps you figure all of those things out
Yeah.
and then tests them in market. And once you do those things, your sales go up.
Mm. Amazing. That sounds so fantastic. Something to look forward to work with in the future. You had the opportunity to work with NBA players,
I did.
something that a lot of people dream of. What was that experience like for you?
Well, I mean, it was fun and not fun at the same time. So we
Wow.
produced a national television campaign,
Uh huh.
working with one of our great clients, a company up here called Sun Life,
Mm-hmm.
and they worked with the NBA. So the year the Toronto Raptors won the championship,
Yes. Yes.
as part of Sun Life sponsorship, Sun
Uh
Life
huh.
has their little logo on the
Yeah.
Raptors
Yeah.
jerseys.
Yeah.
We were able to work with a few of the Raptors in a commercial spot. So it wasn't fun in the way that like, hey, we're responsible for producing this national campaign,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
got a lot of different people, a lot of different voices, and
Okay.
and we got to make sure we make everyone look good. That's what we're
Okay.
doing.
Okay.
What was amazing about it is is the guys were so the guys were so humble
Yeah.
and real people. One of the guys that remember sitting down with, Pascal. His brother was like his like bodyguard,
Yeah.
and he's like this massive guy, and it's just like me and Pascal and his brother, and we're just sitting around talking in folding chairs, right? Like they're just
Wow.
like picnic chairs, folding
Yeah,
chairs.
yeah,
We're just sitting
yeah.
there talking, and I'm asking them like, "Hey, where are you from?" And I can't recall. I remember them being French, so maybe they were Haitian.
Uh-huh.
But it's like, hey, where are you from, and what are you doing, and how are things going? And so one, we have to remember that even the people that we look up to,
Mm-hmm.
uh, they are just absolutely normal people. They
Right.
have the same fears, they have the same concerns, they have the same worries that you and I have. They have a lot of pressure on them
Yeah,
to
yeah.
fit the mold, to show up, to represent. And so uh, yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. We made them look completely badass. We did a great project. We made the
Okay.
clients look happy, and
Mm-hmm.
I got a chance to hang out with them for for like
Wonderful.
a
Yeah.
bit.
Great. Now, here's the thing, Mark. We are basically in a session that a lot of people consider as post-COVID
Mhm.
because things appear to be going back to some semblance of normalcy. But that is not the case with everybody. What
No.
advice would you give to folks who had a business that was doing pretty good and they need to rewire, rebrand, re strategize, start all over again, but they don't know where to start? They don't know how to start.
Mhm.
That's right up your alley, right? What would you say to them? Because they need to bounce back.
Yeah. So the best thing that we can all do is realize there's no going back.
Okay.
Never.
Okay.
And that's hard for you. That's hard for me. Before COVID hit, I had a multi-million-dollar company. I had a 24-person team. We are
Mm-hmm.
not a multi-million-dollar company today. I do not have a
Okay.
24-person team.
Wow.
I rode, we lost 70% of our revenue as soon as COVID hit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I've been there. I've been there through the what are we doing and how can we rebuild, and what do people care about, and
Yeah.
do I have the energy to do this a second time, and all of those things. But here's the first thing we need to realize. If we are wasting time hoping things go back, they never go
Mm-hmm.
backwards.
Mm-hmm.
What is always what was. And adaption
Yeah.
is your number one skill set.
Okay.
Getting better at constantly adapting and realizing that things are never built, they never stay the same, they're always changing. This will serve you in anywhere of your life.
Okay.
And so, to answer your question though, like if you're struggling right now and your
Mm-hmm.
business is struggling right now, what is the number one thing you can focus on?
Mm-hmm.
Getting a sale.
Okay.
Getting a sale. There's
Okay.
this old line: revenue solves all problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and so maybe you have to tweak your packages or what you sell or your price point or who you're focused on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you need to maybe you had all of these services and only one thing will work right now. Go all
Yeah.
in on that.
Yeah.
But here's a few tips. One, everybody tries to sell everything to everyone all the time. Niche down. Niche down. Simplify what you're doing. When Gordon Ramsay, my favorite entrepreneur is Gordon Ramsay,
Mm-hmm.
when he goes in to a restaurant, and if you look at his really old shows before Hell's Kitchen, before he started yelling at everyone all the time,
Yeah.
if you go to his really old shows, he would go into a small restaurant
Mm-hmm.
and he would take their menu and he would throw it out the window and he'd say, "We're only doing 6 dishes. And we're only doing 6 dishes that this team can
Yeah.
deliver on day after day at a
Right.
high value, high quality."
Okay.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Like there
Yeah.
wasn't any more secret to him saving a business other than we're going to shrink what we do.
Yeah.
We're going to do it amazing, and it's only going to be stuff that I think our team can actually deliver on.
Right.
And that's actually enough to save a business.
Mm-hmm.
So don't try to do everything for everyone. Shrink down what you do, figure out what that one thing is you can sell, and just start selling it.
Right. Yeah. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing. Mark, I want to share something with you. It's a video. Just hold on a second. Let me pull it up for you, and then I'm gonna ask you to comment on it.
No problem.
All right, hang tight.
those people that are feeling like maybe I'm not good enough, or who am I to start the podcast? Who am I to do the creative work that I'm really feeling called to do? What advice do you share to those people?
First of all, you're not alone. I mean, I think that that's important. I think so many of us feel like we are the only ones who feel this way. We all feel this way. We all are scared at a certain point. We're all worried about it at a certain point. But on the other side of you making that decision or taking that leap, you can have a higher standard. You can make yourself proud. You can make yourself look in the mirror and actually feel good about who's looking back. Like you can have that level of pride or love for yourself on the other side of acceptance and making that hard decision and having that hard conversation and taking that risk is a much more beautiful life.
Look at how lean that guy looked there, right? That was about a month and a half after my health challenge there.
But
And
that was powerful stuff, Mark. That was powerful stuff. And so after the challenge, you had this kind of, it's like a revelation, a kind of new thing coming up on the inside of you to say to people, hey, you are never alone. I think that's one of the main problems with people coming out of the COVID scenario. You know, they think that, hey, I'm the only one that's going through this stuff. I'm the only one that's struggling, trying to recover, get back on my feet again. But that's not the reality of what's happening. And you addressed it so well, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean,
Amazing.
it was a great conversation I had with Kate, my friend, and yeah, I was struggling. I think many of us are, and that's what I was saying earlier. Though it's like the struggle is always, and the struggle was, if we go back, it's you know, the government or taxes or recessions or COVID or what have you. And what I've come to realize is the build is never over. You're always building. You're always moving forward or moving back. You're always growing or you're always shrinking. The struggle never ends. And if you go back a year or two ago, I would have gone like, oh my goodness, I'm so tired. Like, when is this? When can I just put a stamp like done? Like I'm done. I achieved it. I climbed the mountain. It's over. And my friends would be like, it's never over. And I'd be like, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
But this is why it's so important for you to do the things that light you up, that fire you up. It's so important for you to pursue your passions and to eat well and to exercise and to sleep and all of that other stuff. But it's so important for you to show up doing what you do, doing the things that fire you up, because if you don't, the never-ending struggle will grind you down. But if you take care of yourself and you focus on your passions and you focus on your zone of genius and you focus at what you're best at and you realize that everyone else is struggling with these same things, stop comparing. You're not alone in this. If you do these things, the struggle that never ends is more like a fun challenge or a game and less hopeless.
Wow. So, Mark, on a lighter note, and I don't mean to belittle all the stuff that we had shared before, just fantastic. You had a 747 for a day.
Twice.
How did that happen?
So we did television commercials for an airline. And so we were shooting these television commercials for an airline called Sunwing. And they have resorts all over the Caribbean. And so we had to go down to Dominican for like a full week shoot. Which in itself was kind of cool, but part of the commercials had us shooting people in the plane. And so when we're sitting down to plan these commercials, we go like, can we take the plane up? And they're like, no. And we're like, okay. Is there any way we can shoot while traveling somewhere with real guests? They're like, no. And we're like, okay, then you got to give us a plane. Like, you got to give us a plane for a day. And they're like, okay, we can do that. So I end up driving to our international airport. I end up going to this like back road, and it's like a prison. There's like fences and like wire, and there's like these nasty looking buildings. And I like open this steel door, and suddenly I walk into like the most beautiful, massive hangar you could possibly imagine. And sitting there is like a pristine 737 or 747 or something. It's just sitting there.
Yeah.
And so the first time I'm like really respectful of it, and we have the crew and we have the lighting and we set up green screens, and it's cool. Like if we need chairs removed, the maintenance come in and unbuild the chairs, and we're really respectful. The second time we did it, about a year later when we shot, the head of maintenance was kind of like bored, and he's like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Can I sit in the pilot's seat?" And he's like, "Sure." Okay, cool. And then he's like, "Do you want to see all the aeronautics underneath?" I'm like, "Okay." So we like climb under the plane, and we're like, it was really cool.
Yeah,
it was very cool. But here's the takeaway. It's not it's cool that I got to do that. But I never told these stories until recently.
Okay.
And when you're building a personal brand, or you're trying to connect with people, or you're trying to write a book, or you're trying to write a podcast, or you're trying to help people build your social media, anything you're trying to do, you need to realize that some of these things that is just you going to work. For me, that was just me going to work.
Okay.
I never really thought about how cool it might be to tell that story.
Okay.
And you probably don't realize how cool it is to tell the stories of what you do. But to someone who doesn't do what you do, and for someone who doesn't think the way that you think, sharing your experiences, your stories, your own cool working with NBA players or getting planes for a day, your own cool stories makes you so much more unique and interesting, and you just need to share these stories.
Exactly. It reminds me of some work that I'm doing with a coach, and she was saying that she had the opportunity to be invited to a group of people that were Nobel Prize winners. And one of them, a scientist, he was intrigued because he was trying to figure out how he could get in contact with a Tiger Woods or a LeBron James. And she was surprised because she was saying, I thought you probably only wanted to mix with people, of your like kind, who have achieved what you've achieved and that kind of thing. And you say, no, I'm fed up with that. I have enough of that. I'm looking for something new, something unique, something different. So hook me up with an NBA star or a golf star or a Lewis Hamilton or something, but I just need to have something different, something unique, original that somebody else has experienced at that level, and that's going to make the difference to me. So I see where you're coming from. Finally, Mark, I know you recently had an interview with Les Brown, and he's one of the persons that I kind of pattern my speaking style or copy some of his stuff from. What was that experience like for you? It's something that a lot of people would like to do.
Les, first of all, is an amazing, generous, very kind, and gifted man.
Yeah.
And I think anyone who's a fan knows that. Now, when I first connected with Les's team, I didn't grow up with Les Brown. I wasn't a huge fan of Les Brown. It wasn't like I was like in the presence of small G, God or anything. But here's the funny story behind it. We were, me and my friend Evan Carmichael were doing these tests on Clubhouse. I don't know if you're familiar with Clubhouse, but it's an audio app where you go on and you do these live conversations. And so in the spring of 2001, me and Evan were trying to figure out how to run these like loops. And so anyone who knows Evan Carmichael's YouTube channel knows he puts out these top 10, these top 50 rules to success of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So I would take these rules and I would take the audio, and then we would run a room in Clubhouse where it was just running for like 24 hours straight.
Right.
And we got like a lot of attention. We got a lot of really cool people in there. But basically what happened is on a Friday night, I start running a Les Brown room. And I didn't know Les Brown was on the app. And so Les's son, John Leslie, comes into the room, and I'm asleep. I'm asleep. But when I wake up at 2 a.m. to go to the bathroom, I look at my phone, and my phone has blown up. I'm getting like crazy amount of messages, because here's what happened. We're running a Les Brown room, and Les Brown comes in to the room. My moderator, who is making sure that everything's running properly, brings Les Brown up onto the stage, and Les Brown is trying to talk, but the recording is still going on. And so people are getting mad, saying, "Stop listening to the recording. We want to hear Les Brown."
That's right.
And so now I wake up the next day and I feel like I've just made the biggest mistake in the world, right? Like all these people want to hear Les Brown. No one wants to hear recording. I maybe embarrassed them. I maybe made them mad. So I jump on a phone call with their team and we jump on a meet and then we get a meeting. And out of this whole mistake,
Yeah.
this risk we were taking, this mistake we were making,
Yeah.
when we jumped on a call with them, I explained, listen, we just wanted to share your content. We're not selling anything. We're not scammers. We just wanted to share your content and see what would happen on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
And they realized that we were doing it for the right reasons. And they were like, okay, cool. We like that you're thinking.
Okay.
We like that you are trying things. We like that you were doing it for the right reasons. And so from there, we spoke a bit more. We started collaborating on a few projects. I had Les on my podcast. I flew down to New York and helped them host a live event and got to spend a day with Les and his team. And from there, there's been a few other weird things where sometimes, like, honestly, I'd say every 6 months, my phone rings and I look down and it says Les Brown.
Okay.
And I pick up my phone and I go, hello? And he goes, Mark, this is Les Brown. And I go, hi Les. And he goes, how are you this afternoon? Or whatever it is. And because he has a question about something, or maybe we can help him with something. And it's the most bizarre thing.
Yeah.
Because honestly, he has this rule, only good people. They say this all the time. I only want to work with good people. Only good people. And I guess we passed the test at a certain point, but the funny thing is it all started with a mistake.
Yeah. Wow.
It started with us trying something that we thought was good and we potentially embarrassed everyone.
Wow.
And when we went to apologize and try to fix it, they realized we were good people and there's more that we could do from that.
Amazing story. I love it. Mark, it has been a tremendous pleasure having you here on the Breakout Room. We have a pretty small audience. There were 3 persons watching for now. They kind of got mixed up with the time zone, but that's all right. We're going to do our editing and stuff. But I really want to thank you, Mark Drager, for coming on. Pro-conversationalist, moderator, brand strategist, and founder of Phanta Medium and host of We Do Hard Things in the Breakout Room, the man Mark Drager. Mark, any parting words that you want to say now, or maybe you want to leave information with how folks can get in contact with you if they need your services as a brand strategist or an MC, whatever it is. Just lay it all out there, man.
Well, thank you, Andy. Thank you for having me and for creating this space for us to connect.
Sure.
If people want to check out We Do Hard Things, it's a podcast about facing fears, taking big risks, and chasing down dreams. And I've had the pleasure of connecting with people like Les Brown and others as well. We connect with athletes and creatives and entrepreneurs, and it's been a remarkable journey for us. So if you want to check that out, you can listen to it on all of the regular podcast audio feeds, or you can head over to YouTube and look up Mark Drager or We Do Hard Things. And if you want to connect with me, head over to Instagram. My handle is @MarkDrager. Send me a DM if you want to connect. It's me there, and I'll send you a voice note back. Just to prove that it's me and not some kind of chat bot or something.
I hear you. So thank you so very much, Mark, for making the time to be with us. We appreciate it. And we hope that you have much success with what you do going forward, and that you continue to make a difference and add value to people's lives. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Until next time, this is Andy of Andy's Personal Development saying so long, folks. We had a wonderful time with Mark. Remember, health, happiness, and prosperity. Keep your chin up and keep reaching beyond the skies, because there's no limit to what you can achieve. Until next time, this is Andy of Andy's Personal Development, along with Mark Drager, saying so long, Godspeed, Shalom, Namaste. Bye for now.